Hello everyone and welcome to the championship deciding race here in Austria, WOR. In fact, including this race, there's still 3 races to go in the season, but we can wrap it up nice and early with 2 races remaining, providing the circumstances go right for us and we're able to pick up basically a win, and that would be pretty much enough to go and solidify our championship here in Austria. We need to outscore our rival Tom Manley by 11 points, and that will be enough to give us a 50-point advantage with 2 races remaining, and that shall be enough to secure the championship. Of course, as max points is 25 per race, and then on countback I have more race wins as well. So we're here in Q2 and we are of course trying to get ourselves through into Q3, into the second to last corner of the lap, into the final apex of the lap. Throw it in, let it stick onto the power, running up to the line, DRS wide open, and we go P3 with that lap. What is going to be enough to get us through into Q3 anyway. We decide to go for one more attempt, just to have a bit of fun, and it is due to rain in qualification 3 anyway, so might as well use the tyres and just learn a bit more, try something new with the tyre prep, try something new with the engine prep, and just see what we can learn through turn 1 up on the Delta. So it's been pretty successful through there. Coming in to the first big breaker zone of the lap, get the car slowed down. It was quite nice there at the apex onto the power, but we did lose about half a tenth in total there, just because the engine didn't pick up the revs in the middle of the corner, what compromised our exit into turn 4. Let the car rotate back onto the power, and now we're looking to try and send it for the rest of the lap to try and gain back the time we lost through turn 3, and then we are going to be into the final sector of the lap. You can see 1.7 tenths down on our Delta on the top left hand side of the screen. So all to risk, all to gain in this final corners, into the final apex of the lap, into the corner, and we almost improved on our Delta and got through in well, we got through to Q3 anyway, but we almost improved our Delta even more for being a 10th down going into the final sector of the lap. But nevertheless, you can see it's raining here in Q3. The previous clip was on the out lap, and now this is my first flying lap here into the left hand, and the track is getting wetter and wetter and wetter by the second, and you can see that so many people have already crossed the line to complete their lap as well. I'm just struggling for grip out here. We've got a John Evans, I think, is directly up ahead on the road, and now into the final 2 corners of the lap. You can see the rear is not sticking. The rear tires are starting to overheat quite a lot, and into the final apex, no grip, no traction, no confidence either, and across the line we go provisionally P5, just ahead of John Evans and Tico Hardy, who's sharing the same track as me. But now it is crunch time, the final run of Q3. You can see the track is basically bone dry right now. All of us are on intermediate tyres, and all of us are searching for the peak lap time potential on the limit, adapting to the grip, adapting to the conditions, and see who can go fastest into turn 1. We don't know where to brake. Onto the power, we have slight idea now of what the grip levels will be. We basically coasted on the out lap to keep the tyre temperatures as low as possible, and now braking where we think is right, just after the 100-meter board. You can see the car sliding around in the braking zone, getting the car to the apex pretty nicely, and then into the middle sector now onto the power, using battery down the straight into the braking zone. Downhill, easy to lock a brake here, easy to lose time. You can see into the right hand and rear, fighting the car into the apex, and then into the fast left-handers to end up sector 2. Into the left hand, you can see the front axle just doesn't bite into the apex anymore. They are really starting to struggle for temperature, and you can see the rear tires are now starting to go off as well. So easy to overheat the intermediate tires in a qualifying lap scenario. Into double apexes to finish the lap off. You can see the rear fighting one more time into the final apex of the lap, into the power, running up to the line. Where can we go? What can it be? It's provisional P1, but I can say that's actually going to get knocked down into P2 as Eurus goes to pole position. But P2 in our championship deciding race is a beautiful place to be starting indeed, and it is 5 lights out, And away we go on the hard compound tyres. No rain expected. We get an amazing start ahead of Joris into the inside, into turn 1. He hangs it around the outside though with good momentum. And now we're into the slipstream. Trying to give Julian as well a bit of slipstream down into the second apex of the lap. Lap 1 as well. Down the inside. We back out of it though because we actually want to stay behind so we can have the better DRS advantage for the rest of the race rather than overtaking now, losing battery, losing time, put ourselves under pressure from cars behind. We can chill, we can relax, we can start saving tires, battery, fuel, anything that we want on this first lap of the race already and go automatically into race management mode. And that is going to be very critical for a race like Austria. 3 DRS zones on this track, so it's basically impossible to break away, and even if you do break away, cars working together with slipstream will pretty easily catch up anyway. So managing the pace, managing the gaps, managing the tires and battery is more critical than pretty much any track on this year's game. And ideally you want to be sitting in P2 or P3 for the entirety of the race, and that will give you the best chance possible to win the race, as Joris has a big snap on the exit of corner 1 and we're able to utilize that to go past him very easily on the straight as well. Of course, purple sector 1, as it's the first time we've done it at flying speed. Bit of loss of the rear into the second apex of the lap, but nothing hurts there really, as we was able to get a good exit and we're not under pressure from Joris going in to the right hand. And lap 3, now you can see we decide to stay ahead of him and he decides to not attack us into the corner, and we're still able to get contact as Julian actually has contact just behind us as we was able to retain the position. And now you can see Joris is going to go up the inside here on lap 4, take the race lead, and we're going to fall back into P2 around the outside back onto the power, and we're not going to be overtaking him on this straight as we want to stay behind. Again, utilize the DRS for the following lap. You can see we dropped a bit further behind in the middle sector to see if we could just basically not have to overtake him on this straight and not give Reese the opportunity to put us under pressure, as now Tabas is putting Reese under pressure, and now we're just going to go to the inside, not trying to attack Joris, but just hold the racing line so we're not going to be dive bombed up the inside either, and that has worked very effectively, very nicely. But Reese is all over the back of us. With that being said, he's closing, he's using a little bit of battery down the straight, but we're just going to cover the inside off, and that's not going to be enough to basically deter us from this position on lap 5 of the race. Lap 6 of the race, and now you can see all over the back of yours and trying to stay behind him one more time. You can see we have 90% battery in the braking zone, 95, 96 on the exit as well, so we're looking very healthy on our battery usage. Lap 7, you can see going up the inside now. He's going to try and wait, so we have the DRS detection point. There it is. And now we're going to be side by side, get a good exit, and now we're going to have the DRS as well on the following straight. And that is going to be very nice. You can see Reese now is coming past, and we're going to be holding the racing line on the outside, braking late, and we're able to keep the race lead in this situation. Reese really, I don't think, wanted to take the race lead either. He wanted to be P2. You can see going down the inside of us now, but we're able just to cover that off, get a good exit, and now we are going to be in a good position for the following straight. Only 46% battery though, so we have to be quite careful with that, as Joris now is attacking pretty wide in the braking zone. We're going to be brave on the brakes, around the outside, try to hang it there around the outside of 2 cars there, and we're able to retain the race lead here on lap 10, lap 13, lap 14. In fact, trying to break the slipstream down the pit straight. You can see the middle sector, we had a pretty strong one and was able to get the gap up to 4.5 tenths, and the exit of the corners that we were getting on this dry stint was really phenomenal, so that was able to save us quite a lot of battery usage and mean that we was able to keep the race leaders. Tamas actually takes out 3 cars from behind us, and that's going to give an opportunity to try and break the DRS detection. You can see 9.8 tenths was at the maximum gap that we had, 7.5 tenths now to Julian, and we're going to try and just break away if we can, try to get a gap, but now I can see that Julian is 7 tenths behind, and it's not worth me burning all my battery. Lap 16, he's caught back up because of the DRS, and because he's a fast driver, of course, really one of the best up-and-comers that there is in the scene. So, able to take the race lead now, Julian is, and now lap 17, we're able to retake that side by side into corner 2. He actually was dead even at the DRS detection point, so I didn't get DRS, but he did actually, so he must have been like 1 or 2 thousandths just behind me, but nevertheless was able to keep the position, as now Istvan Pukki is in P3. And now down the inside, you can see we're clearly ahead on this lap, but we're able to get the car slowed down, rotated back on the power, and it's coming towards the end of the first racing stint here in Austria, and we are starting to think about what we could do on pit stops. Massive chaos behind us now as everyone starting to get a bit frantic before the pit window starts to open up. Lap 19 here, you can see Julian didn't want to overtake us there, so fell back into line. You can see Joris looking down the inside as well, but now we're around the outside of Julian. We are going to have the DRS and we get a good exit as well, so we're staying in P2. Lap 21 in the DRS, lap where we actually have 80% battery as well. Here and down the inside of Julian, you can see he's hanging around the outside. That looked very close again, but I think we're not going to get DRS either. And you can see Joris is all over the back of us, and Julian is going to be getting the DRS as well. Joris down the inside. We can't really do anything there as the road was blocked, and we couldn't have the opportunity to go left or right. Actually had to lift on the exit because Joris had a big snap of oversteer. You can see ahead of us, they are fighting, and that's going to give Pukki a chance to slip down our inside, and we're going to try and hang it around the outside of him here, but it's going to be difficult from this position. We use a little bit of battery, but we decide not to burn our battery fighting this position. We have the bigger picture to think about, and that's winning this championship, and we are still in championship position right now as Tom Manley is outside of the points paying positions here on lap 22. You can see we've got Duncan just behind us, Pukki up ahead. We almost ran into the back of them as they broke so early for corner 1. You can see Duncan all over the back of us, and everyone starting to Constantina as the pit window is starting to go closer, closer and closer. Looking around the outside, big snap of oversteer actually, and that hindered our chance to go around the outside of Pukki. Now Duncan is up the inside of us, and now we're going to be in the slipstream, and we're going to go round the outside in the braking zone, try and find the gap, hit the brakes, and now trying to go around the outside, but the front tyres just didn't grip enough, didn't give enough friction, bite and confidence to get around the outside of Pukki there, but still a very nice effort nevertheless. And now you can see we're going a little bit wide here, and that's going to give Duncan a chance to slip up or inside, but nothing doing there, and able to fend him off in this situation.
Consider boxing this lap, yes or no?
You can hear me asking to consider boxing this lap, yes or no, and we decide against it, and we're going to be staying out for another lap here as Joris peels off into the pit lane. And you can see now on lap 23, battling is commencing up ahead with Pukki and Julian, and we're only 46% on the battery, so it's not worth me trying to send one up the inside right now for track position. It's better for me just to hold behind and then wait for this, and just not to waste my battery. Big snap of oversteer, in fact. As now we are going to be boxing on this lap to cover off the undercut from many people. Right up behind Julian, right up behind Pukki, Duncan right up behind us, and Thomas Ronhart, our teammate, is only 4 tenths behind us. And yeah, so we're coming into the pit lane on this lap. You can see getting the car slowed down into the pit lane limits as well, not going over the white line. But this is where race disaster is starting to happen. Slow it down.
No, man, this game.
Yeah. Basically, my map on my wheel, I don't know what to call it, like the button mapping was overlapped, and basically that meant when I came in, I pressed the pit limiter, and it instantly just gave me a slow pit stop. So yeah, the button map was overlaid, so yeah. Unlucky, unfortunate, basically, and now our race has been compromised with that situation. Thomas is coming out just behind us, 7 tenths, so at least we can work together with the DRS, but we've got a big gap to catch up to the race leaders, 2.4 seconds, and they are all using DRS as well to slipstream each other along. You see 2.6 seconds, and both me and Thomas are not super high on the battery either. But that being said, we was able to catch up to the back of them on lap 33, and you can see Tamas up ahead, who is going to be low on battery, already flashing down the straight, and I just knew I had to get a good exit from this corner, and then we could be getting him easily on the exit down the straight because of our battery being much higher than his. And key situation right now, Tom Manley is out of the points. We have got a 2.2 second gap to John Evans, who is P10. So I just need to get P4 in this race and we will be champions. So we have to go up the inside, oh yeah, and down the inside, and a little touch on the wheels on the apex, but nothing unfair there, and down the inside into P7, Thomas. Shinaka up ahead, and then there's a bit of a gap to P4 up ahead, who's Alvaro Carreton. Ismail Fassi, my apologies, who has got a 3-second penalty. Right now, we are in championship position. Right now, we will be WOR champions for this season, but there is still a few laps of racing to go, and on Austria, anything can happen. My first objective is to close into this race leading pack, so we can try and maybe get even more points, even more position, maybe a podium, maybe a win, but that is not going to happen on this lap, as the gap is still 1.7 seconds. We don't have DRS. Shinaka is going up the inside on lap 35. He goes wide. He misses his braking point. What's going to mean that I have to go back past them on this lap to have any chance of getting the DRS on the race leaders. And remember, Ismail Fassi only has a 3-second time penalty. So if we drop 9 tenths behind him from this point onwards, then we will not be champions. 1.9 seconds at the start of the lap, so we have closed in. We have 40% battery on the exit, fighting the car on the limit of grip adhesion, and just fighting. Trying so hard. Shinaka is going to stay behind us for the corner, and now we're going to go a little bit defensive. Now open up the corner, try to get the exit of our lives out of this apex. We do that. We build the gap to 4 tenths using a bit of battery down the straight, and this is where it's going to get messy. We go defensive anyway, but Shinaka from almost 1.5 tenths behind just hits us out of the way and now starts hitting us on the exit. You can see just bashing us to the outside line, and that has been disaster. Thomas Ronha, who's got a 3-second penalty, has gone ahead of us anyway, and now Shinaka is ahead of us, so we are still provisionally P5 in this race, what is not enough to win the championship. Ismail Fassi has gained more than 3 seconds up the road, and now you see Jan's going up the inside with a 3-second penalty as well. Shinaka hits Thomas in the final corner, causes the crash, and that has mean we've gone around the outside. We've got a 20-second penalty for a legal overtake, what will be removed, but crucially,
it's not even enough,
we missed out on P4 by like half a second. By half a second, we missed out on P4. Of course, at the moment it shows us P14 because of that penalty for the illegal overtake, but that will be removed by the stewards. So yeah, we would have been P5 in that situation. We'll be P5. We should be anyway, because I'm yet to see the stewards' results. They're still pending as I'm editing and uploading this video. But yeah. What could I say? 2 crashes on the final lap, and yeah, that's just league racing. And yeah, I'm not going to go massively and throw people on the bus or talk rubbish or talk trash about people, but yeah, that's racing. I know how to race people in certain ways now. So yeah, it is what it is. Basically now we have to just basically get P9 in Zandvoort next race on Monday night, and we will win the championship. So not in the way I would have liked to do it. I would have already liked to do it in Austria, in the way of fighting for it, super tooth and nail on those final laps. But sometimes it doesn't go the way always wanting it to be. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Next league racing highlights will be PSGL, Abu Dhabi, and then of course Zandvoort will be streamed on Monday night for WOR, where we will try to wrap up the championship, of course. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, bye bye.